Good morning, everybody. It's Jeff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It is Friday, May 8th, and I'm going to start out, as I always do, by reminding you that the year is 1/3 over, and if you're not 1/3 of the way to hitting your financial goal in sales, now, like right now, is the time to get busy. You should have gotten busy in January, but if you've been taking it easy or something's been going on in your life that just did not allow you to get the job done, right now is the time to dig in, because you don't want to call a guy like me or today's guest in October or November and say, hey, I'm not going to make my quota. What do I do? Because we're going to tell you, you should have called me 6 months ago. At any rate, if you've never joined us before, my name is Jeff Goldberg. I'm a sales coach and trainer. I work with individuals and organizations to help them increase their sales. And if you have joined us before, you know that every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, I either do a live training or a live interview with somebody who can add value to the profession of sales. And today is no exception, my friends. Today's guest has 45 years. That's slightly less than me, but it sure is a lot. 45 years of sales and marketing experience. He volunteers as an international business mentor. We're going to find out what that is. It's included him doing mentoring in places like St. Petersburg, Russia. That's got to be an interesting story. And Veracruz, Mexico. After COVID happened, we all remember that. Let's hope that doesn't happen again, at least in our lifetimes. But after COVID, he and his wife, Barbara, expanded their business and started doing digital marketing, which included website building, reputation marketing, and Google business profile optimization. Please welcome today's guest, John DeJong. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Hey, John, before I get into the 1,000,001 questions I have for you, could you maybe give us the 1 to 2 minute version of your background? What brought you up to this point?
Yeah. So my family are first generation immigrants. So I was the first one born in Canada, came over from Holland after World War II. We started at the bottom. You know, my grandfather was in the Dutch underground and a butcher and a police officer, and he had to start as a potato, laborer on a potato farm here in Canada. But, just like so many of our listeners here today, we start at the bottom and work our way up. I was in sales. I started in a ski shop, and then I went into the jewelry business. And then I went to TVs and stereos, and people thought, I actually had customers follow me along there. And I thought the next thing I was going to be doing is selling them a house. But then I got into the car business, and I was an executive in the car business for a major dealership here. And in 2008, my appendix burst and I almost died. So that was an eye opener. We had 3 kids, teenagers or less. And my boss was calling me because I was pretty good at what I did, as a lot of you are. And my boss is saying, John, when you coming back to work, man? And I thought, like, dude, I almost died. Like, I've got a 7-inch incision in my abdomen, and I had tons of complications, and I literally almost didn't make it.
Wow.
So as a good sales performance, if you're going to have good sales performance, you got to measure what you're doing, right? And as a manager, I was directly managing 24 salespeople at the time, and my performance went down by 40%. I couldn't do the job the way that I used to. And it's like, Tom Cruise and Top Gun. It's like you get to a point where you have a confidence problem. You still have all the skills, but you now developed a confidence problem because the people who are supposed to support you and lift you up and help them basically shit on me and didn't care. They just wanted me back because they wanted the money. And then when their true colors came out, I couldn't support a company like that anymore. So we doubled the mortgage on our house, took out a bunch of lines of credit, and decided to buy an existing business. And there's some wisdom in that as well. So, that's how I got into the sign business. And I got into signs, Jeff, because when business is good, people need signs. When business is bad, people need signs. So I thought, well, this is an inflation-resistant business. There's nothing inflation-proof. It turns out there's nothing plague-proof or, pandemic-proof, right? But we're still here. Praise the Lord.
Why signs? Was it simply because it seemed to be inflation proof?
Yeah, I kind of had a knack always for direct messaging. If you learn anything about me, I'll tell you how I feel. You might not like it, but and that's what's helped me in sales as well. I'll tell you what I think is right for you based on my experience. And when I was working in the Toyota for Toyota, a Toyota dealership, I entered a contest to write a television commercial for Toyota, and I won that. And it actually got a trip to a Formula One race in Montreal out of it. And so I'm good at messaging, and that's what the sign business is just messaging. And so many people are doing it wrong. And social media is now digital marketing is the same thing. It's all about messaging.
I love what you said about what's right for you. Because so often I find salespeople are trying to put square pegs in round holes. I've got a prospect that's speaking to me, so whatever I've got, I'm going to fit them into that. And it's just not the right thing to do. My come from has always been like yours. It's like, if I can serve you and really help you, great, I'm here for you. And if I'm not, you won't have to tell me. I'll let you know that my offer, my product, my service isn't right. Let me introduce you to somebody else. I'm a big believer in an acronym that I've taught my kids from a very young age, ADTRT, which stands for always do the right thing.
Yeah.
And while it may sometimes seem short term that it's hurting you because you're not closing a deal that you might have if you were willing to maybe lie a little or bend the truth a little. I personally, I need to sleep at night, and I do believe that what goes around comes around. You do the right thing, you get the right thing, and if you don't, you don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being that you're in marketing as well as sales, how much research are buyers doing today before they ever talk to a salespeople? I read a lot of different things, but what's your experience?
Yeah, buyers are 100% of buyers are doing some form of research. Most of it is happening online. So let me ask you, Jeff, when you go out, if you're visiting a new city with your wife and you want to take her out to a nice restaurant for dinner, what's the first thing you do?
Well, I'm not married, but I'd be looking for a wife. But
yeah.
I'd probably go looking, I'd probably Google, what are great restaurants in Akron, Ohio, or something like that.
Exactly. So if you're in Akron, Ohio, so even if you're getting off the plane, you might have sat beside a guy on the airplane getting to Akron, or right, and you've asked him and say, "Hey, I've never been here before. What do you know?" Right. So we go by referrals, and online is basically a giant referral net, right? And Amazon has done a great thing for us because we probably all of us have bought something on Amazon, and what do? We look at the reviews, right? So by teaching us the reviews are important, so many of us do that now. We look and you and I are older than maybe a lot of the people who are listening right now, but we didn't have that luxury. So it was all word of mouth or reputation. But no matter how people are researching, what they're looking for is your reputation, and that everybody's always been looking for what is the reputation of the person who's providing this product or service. So can I jump back to what you said, always be telling the truth or whatever?
Always do the right thing.
Always do the right thing. I took paramotoring and paragliding lessons down in Florida, and we had an acronym. It was kind of similar like that. Is DBAD, don't be a dick. Right, which might be easier for people to remember, but treat your customers right.
That's a good one. I might have to use that myself. What's your take on this? Because you mentioned Google reviews. I have a friend and associate that I highly respect, who's written what I consider to be the best sales book in probably the last 15 years, called The Transparency Sale. His name is Todd Capone, and Todd, before he became an author and speaker, was working at a company that they were the first company to help other companies put reviews on their websites. And they did studies that showed that if you have all 5-star reviews, that people tend not to believe it, and that you're far better off if your reviews are between, and I always mess up the numbers, but it's something like 4.5 to 4.7, they're more believable. What's your take on that? Do we shoot for all 5-star reviews, or is it better to have some realistic numbers in there?
Yeah. So here's the thing. That first of all, that stat is absolutely correct. You're better off to be a 4.5, 4.6. So let me tell you what the basement should be. The basement should be 4. So often people will search for best restaurant in Akron, Ohio. So, and as soon as you put the word best in there, Google eliminates everybody that's below 4.0. So first of all, if you're not getting 4.0, you won't even show up. Secondly, yes, you can't ask for a 5-star Google review, or you're not supposed to. But so here's what I do. I asked for a Google review, and I said, if you think it's appropriate and we've earned it, would you give us a 4 or a 5-star Google review? So you've primed the pump, and actually I need to get a lower score. I have my company has over 800 5-star Google reviews, and we're at 5. I've got a few 1s, I got a few 4s. We're not perfect, and yeah. So the funny thing about the ones is they're about me personally, because remember I said I was kind of strong and opinionated. Those are the people who give you the ones, right? Because people aren't buying a product, they're buying you. So they review you, right? So yes, absolutely. You should be always aiming for the best, and you get what you get. Now here's the real trick to it is, if you get 5-star Google reviews and you have no replies to them, or they just look fake, yeah, that's the impression that people are going to get. Because I'm in Canada, you're in the States. We know nobody's perfect, but in Canada especially, we're really polite, and we know, okay, well, nobody is that good, right? But every single one of your Google reviews, you need to reply to. And I reply to them personally. I also have an AI tool to make it easier for people, but I reply to them and I talk to them about the product that they bought. Hey, congratulations. Thank you so much for the 5 stars. We really appreciate it. I'm glad you're happy with the vehicle graphics that we put on your commercial truck for you, or I'm glad you're happy with your A-frame, or I'm glad you're happy with the window stuff. And then you personalize it with something, and then people know, oh, that's where they get to know your personality. That's where they get to know, oh, this isn't real. This guy is hands-on in his business, and he cares about his customers.
Huh. Interesting. Love that. So wait a minute. You said you need a few lower reviews. How do you go about getting those?
I don't go for that. I just aim for the best, and sometimes you miss the mark, right? And if the burden that I have to bear is I have 5 stars with 800 of them, people are going to read them.
You'll live with it.
Here's another thing. When sometimes people, have you ever done this before, Jeff? You look at the reviews and they got a ton. Do you ever jump down and push that button that says lowest score?
Always.
So
I want to see
that,
I always
right?
want to see the highest and the lowest, and some in the middle.
Yeah. So this is why it's so important to answer your Google reviews. You have to tell your side of the story. Now, here's something crazy. As salespeople, we're always out there talking about features and benefits, which we probably shouldn't. We should be talking about how this improves your life and what do you want it to achieve, and so on. But Google has this great feature when you can put a product on on your Google business profile, and you can get 1,000 characters to describe that product. So for me, it might be A-frames, or it might be digital marketing. They give you 300 characters to describe a service. So it might be installation or removal of graphics or something like that. But when you get a Google review, they give you 4,000 characters to reply to a Google review. Okay, so to me, that tells me that it's at least 4 times more important to Google that I reply to a Google review than even have a product or put a description on there. It is so important, and that is indexable. That is something that is searchable, and the AIs now are using Google Business Profile. So some people don't search on Google anymore. Like they have most of the market, but some of the people are searching on ChatGPT or Claude. And I'm finding it in my business. I asked my clients, I said, how did you find me? And they go, oh, I used AI. They don't even know what AI they use, but they used AI. Well, AI gets a lot of that information from your website, but also from your Google Business Profile and your reviews that you've posted. So when you reply to those negative reviews, or you talk about the products, now you're putting keywords into your Google Business Profile. And I know, most of the people here are salespeople, but as a salesperson, you're a sales professional, you're a consultant. My recommendation to you is that you create your own Google Business Profile. You don't have to have a legal name, but that's something I would start, because at some point in time, you might move from this dealership to that dealership, or from this realty firm, or from this pharmaceutical company, or whatever it is that you're doing. If you're set yourself up as a consultant, then you can have your Google Business Profile, and you can take that with you, and all that hard work that you've done, all those pats on the back that you got from your clients and from your bosses and suppliers, because you can get Google reviews from anybody, they come with you. And we're building your career, right? This is your business. You might do it for other people. Like, I'm in sales and marketing now. I'm doing it for myself, but I've done it for multiple places.
Love that. I had a prospect recently reach out to me, and of course, it's like, hey, I'm just curious, how'd you hear about me? She goes, oh yeah, I went into ChatGPT, just typed on great sales trainers in the northeastern United States, and your name came up. I'm like,
perfect.
God bless AI.
Yeah.
You mentioned bad reviews. So how do you reply to a bad review? Screw you, or you're crazy? I'm assuming that's not the correct answer.
That is not the correct answer. You can be right and you can be dead right. I'd rather, you might know that you're right. Just tell your side of the story. The evidence that's not presented is not evidence. It's not evidence to defend you. It's actually almost an admission of guilt. So the most important thing you can do is reply to your negative Google reviews, reply to them promptly, take ownership of it. Hey, sometimes we screw up. Sometimes we're late on delivery. Sometimes we get the colors wrong. Sometimes, hey, people do the wrong things. The wrong people get blamed for things, and sometimes the right package that's delivered to the wrong place. That's okay. We didn't want to do that. That's not our intention. We didn't get 800 Google reviews by screwing up all the time and then blaming other people. We get, people get to know your character. They know you as a business owner. They know you as a consultant by the crap that you own up to and that you fix. A negative Google review is perfect. That is the best opportunity for you to know you got a problem customer, because what does a problem customer do? A problem customer tells 10 people about his problems. What does a good customer do? He might tell 1 or 2 people, right? But the negative ones are the ones that are the most fruitful for you. So take responsibility, say what you did, give your side of the story. You can practically preach a sermon in there, and at least you got it out there. There you were able to air your differences and say, I'm sorry you didn't, we didn't solve your problem, or you don't agree. Because a lot of times people don't agree with the solution. But yeah, very important to communicate. Isn't that what we're doing? Isn't that what our business is communication?
Yeah. So something like, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Is there anything we can do to fix this for you? That would be inappropriate to a bad Google review.
Yeah. Or I would even say, I would come up with 2 or 3 solutions. Like, be proactive. You got lots of words there. So, hey, please come down to the dealership and let's have a discussion about this. And sometimes I say, oh, I don't even see you in our database. Like, they're leaving something anonymously, so I can't reach out to you, but please reach out to me. And here's what I would, suggest is, I would exchange it for this, or I would, do a repair, or whatever the situation is. If there are solutions that are solvable, or you could say, these are the solutions I would try, but until you come back to us, my hands are tied. So please, the ball's in your court. Feel free to reach out to us.
Got it. So what exactly is reputation marketing? That's one of the things that you do. What is that? And why should salespeople care about that?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, people are always buying on reputation. They're, whether you're driving on the street and you see a body shop and there's, an ugly looking sign out front like that, and they're a body shop of for car dealerships or something like that. They're supposed to make things look pretty. If your presentation looks bad, that sends a message. If your signs out there, or you get just junkers out front, right? I tell people all the time, like, well, just walk out to the front of your business and take a look. Is there garbage on the streets? Like, that's part of your reputation. So what is reputation marketing? Reputation marketing is putting your best foot forward. It's letting people know how you are every day, not just on your really good days, right? So this is not just social media. Social media is just curating your life and putting out the best things all the time. No one's life is like that. We know that. But it's telling people about you and letting them get to know you, so that you're a person of good repute, of good character, of high level of service, and what other people have experienced. We need to get that out there, because you might be the best in your business, but if nobody knows about it, people aren't going to come to your doors. You need to be the best known for being the best in your business.
And would part of reputation marketing also be being open and honest about the warts, about the things that you don't do well? I mean, it's not just we're the greatest ever. Again, going back to that book I mentioned, The Transparency Sale, he talks about, look, we're great at this, we're not great at that, and that people like it when we all tend to. That's a gross exaggeration. Many people, it's like, we're the greatest, you can't go wrong, it's a lock. But in truth, there's always some risk. And Todd in his book says it's better to just be straightforward and honest, let people evaluate, because you want the right customer for you. You want the right prospect for you. And if you're just saying we're the greatest at this, you may be attracting people that aren't going to be right for you. It's kind of like when you meet somebody and you fall in love and then you find out they leave the toilet seat open or they don't put the tube on the cap on the toothpaste. It's like, oh, I thought you were perfect, but you do a couple things wrong.
It's hard to believe you're not married, Jeff.
It's not hard at all if you knew me.
I've been married for 40 years now. My lovely wife, Barbara, the very first time she met me, I can tell you exactly what she was wearing the first time I met her at a youth group. We were playing baseball, but she saw me and I drove in and I had a Volkswagen Scirocco. And if you know a Volkswagen Scirocco, it's a very sporty little car, but it's just a Volkswagen Golf or a Rabbit with a slightly different body on. But she thought it was pretentious. And yes, I was a little, out there and bold and loud and stuff like that. She did not like me, but I asked her out and she said no. But I communicated with her and she had the wrong impression. She actually thought that I was the son of some other well-to-do people. I'm just a lower middle-class immigrant, son of an immigrant, right? And as I got to know her and communicate with her, she let her guard down, and so the reputation that I had was not. She had mislabeled me. Who I was not who she thought I was. So I communicated and I corrected that, and that's why reputation is so important. And now we've been married 40 years. So
well, first of all, congratulations. So when you're auditing someone's online reputation, what's the first thing you look at?
Yeah, the first thing I look at is your Google business profile. I don't even look at your website. And the reason for that, Jeff, is most of you won't even get to a restaurant's website or a company's website. You'll do a quick search on Google and Google will come up with like 1.6 million results on the left-hand side of the screen. And then it'll come up with the one result usually that it thinks is the best for you. And that's what we call a Google card. And that's where it's got a picture of it at the top. And then beside that, it's got the map and it's got the reviews. And then you can click to call, or you can click on the website, or you can click for directions. And 70% of the time when people do that search and that card comes up, people click on that card. They don't click on the paid ads on the left-hand side. They don't even go to the map. They just usually click on the one that Google recommends. So that's the thing that I look at. That's the first thing that I look at. Then I look to your website, because your website is where the AIs are getting a lot of its information from. So we've got to make sure that that's clear and concise and says what you do. And when I say clear and concise, what you were talking about earlier about being transparent, say what you do. Tell people the goal or what you accomplish for them in one sentence. That's what you need to do. So on the bottom of the screen here, you see, I get you found. That's what I do, right? I get you found. I get you found online and I get you found on the street. Your website at the very top of the page, the header, or sorry, not the header, the landing part of the page should say exactly what it is you do. Don't put a feel-good statement in there. People don't care about the feel-good statement. People care about what can you do for me today, right?
Wow, got it. So what are most businesses getting wrong about their online reputation?
Great question. Let's talk about what most businesses are doing about, let's talk about a business package for a second here. I get people that come in, they're starting a brand new business and they've spent $5,000 or something on a logo. They got a cute looking picture. And then they come in here and then they want to make a sign and they want to spend $250 on an A-frame or less. They want to spend less. So the thing they get wrong is they're putting the effort in the wrong spot. If you're a salesperson, do you want to go into a room full of 10,000 people who don't know what they want, or would you rather go into a room of 30 people that have a need for your product?
That second one.
Okay, so it's not 10,000 opportunities. You don't need to appeal to everybody. What they get wrong is that they're putting the minimum information in the wrong spots. Your website is 10% of the equation for getting found online. Your Google business profile is 90% of the equation for getting found online. So they're not optimizing that. And it only takes $500, or you can do it for yourself for free. It takes a little bit more time. When I first got my first Google review. I have a client, I have it right here. Darren Williams, March 6, 2015. I got my first Google review. We had just put some frosted etch. He's a lawyer, well-known lawyer in town here, on his windows. And so for that privacy etch, and he goes, "Hey, John, that's great. Let me leave you a Google review." So one of the few instances people gave me a review without asking. And I said, "What's that?" Like, I didn't even know. Like, I knew you had to be found on the web, and I knew I had to have a Google site, and I had a Google business site, but it wasn't even called Google Business Profile back then. So, but when people are searching for you, you've got to have an optimized Google Business Profile, and you need to have your products on there. You need to have your services on there, and you need to be tickling it. I call it poking the bear. You got to poke the bear 2, 3, 4 times a week. So they're posting to social media. That does nothing for you. Okay, it does something, but it doesn't generate sales. People are not looking on Facebook most of the time for stuff, except for Facebook Marketplace. So they have a specific need. When they do a search, they're doing it on Google. Even Apple uses Google to power Safari. So you're just using Google, whether you think you're driving a Ford or a Lincoln. You're still driving a Ford, right? Whether you're searching on Apple or whether you're searching on Google, you're still searching on Google. So go where the client is looking. Okay. When your clients are looking for a Ford, they're not looking at the Toyota dealership, right? So go where your clients are looking and tell people how great you are, where people are looking, and then they'll be able to find you.
That makes sense. Now, one of the things I know you do is you help people fix their reputation if it's not a great one. Do you have any, is there a craziest reputation disaster that you've helped to fix?
Yeah, great question. So there's a local car dealership. I used to be in the car business, and these guys left around the same time I did and started their own store. But they had a partner who was involved in the property, and he owned the land that it was on. So they were kind of stuck with them until they got a buyout. Well, this guy, he was a rager on Google Business Profile. So, I told you it's important to reply to your Google reviews. You got to do it in a professional way. You got to take ownership. This guy drove away more customers. He would call customers Karens in his replies. He goes, "You're such a Karen, blah, blah, blah. And I can't believe you did this. And we offered to do this." So there's a tone that comes through in your writing, folks. It's all about the words that you use. So I taught them how to get access to their Google profile so that they could change all these reviews. And then I actually gave them a tool that uses AI to rewrite it. And I train AI. So we talked about AI for a second. AI is an actual idiot until you train it. Okay. It has access to lots of information. But so do your clients. You can't sell a car off of a brochure. That's just a bunch of information, right? You got to sit in the car. You got to smell the car. You got to drive the car. You got to get emotionally connected to the car, right? That's what sells. Well, AI is kind of like a brochure. It doesn't know anything until you teach it. So then we train AI. So I coined a phrase what I call AI squared. So it's my actual intelligence. This is gray hair. I'm surprised that you don't have any, but I have gray hair.
Well, I've got lots of gray hair. Not back here, but I've got all gray now.
So I use what I call AI squared. So it's my actual intelligence married to the artificial intelligence, and then they work together like gears. And then when things work together like gears, you get way more pulling power. You get way more torque.
Gotcha. So clearly, Google reviews are important.
Yeah.
How do we get more?
Ask. So you might have heard the saying, "Ask and you shall receive." So I actually carry this around with me. This is a Google review card, and this is programmed. Let me just grab this out. So I asked for Google reviews. We'll talk about that in a second. So this is a tap card, and it's also got a QR code on there. Sorry, it's not focusing. But so this would be programmed to go to Alley Cat Signs and Marketing. So I was just out at a local cell phone provider, and we did a bunch of installations for them. And while I was there, the manager came out and said, "Hey, that looks great, John." I said, "Great. Would you mind leaving me a Google review?" And he goes, No, not at all. But that's what most people do, and then they walk away. We got to make it easy. So I said, "You got your phone on you?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Pull it out." He pulls it out. So I asked, and then I told, right? Because people need to be led. And I said, "Pull your phone out." He goes, "Here, tap this." And he taps the card, boom, goes right to my Google business profile. And then it has a happy face and a sad face pops up on a screen. And it says, were you happy or were you sad? And he taps on the happy face. And then using my AI, it actually puts down 2 or 3 things. Oh, did you have an installation? Did you buy a new A-frame? Did you like the people? It gives him 3 or 4 things, and he taps on the ones that he likes, and boom, it writes a review for him. And if he likes it, he can copy and paste it and go, boom, right to your Google business profile. If he doesn't like it, he can write his own. So that's the first thing to do, is to make it easy. Have these in your on your store, at your POP, at your countertop. The next thing is, if you're dealing remotely, send out an email. Okay. Actually, let me ask you this, Jeff. If you get an email, do you reply to it right away? Or if you get a text, which do you reply first?
What am I going to reply to quicker? Text.
Yeah. Text, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So 90% of text messages get read, if not replied to, virtually immediately. 40% of emails, even if they come from someone that you know, get read quickly. So way higher. So we also have or you can also create a service that will send out a text message and say, hey, thank you so much for following up, or thank you so much for showing up on our podcast. How did you like it? Click here for, give us 5 stars or whatever. And we have these automations set up that will automatically go out one time, one day, skip a day, send an email, skip another day, send a text, skip another day. I send out 4 texts and 4 emails to follow up. I mean, you probably never talk about follow up in sales, do you?
No, not at all.
No. Okay. After the sale, you got to follow up. You got to follow up to get your Google review, just as hard as you did to follow up to get the sale, right? I have never, ever in 11 years gotten a negative Google review for following up too much. Okay. I've had reviews. People say to me, I'm leaving you a review because you followed up so much, right? People will just unsubscribe. We do everything, the software that I use, I do everything by the book, right? Just like you were saying. They can unsubscribe at any time, and they can choose to follow or choose not to follow. We're not there to harass them. We're there to help them, to remind them, because you know what? I bet you've left Google reviews. I bet you everyone listening to this podcast has left a Google review.
Sure.
And you didn't do it because you were forced to. You did it because you wanted to. And most people are willing to help you. Most people want to buy from you if you have the right product. If you treat them well and you have the right service or product to take care of their needs, they will buy from you. It's the same thing with the Google review. Now, is everybody going to buy from you? No. So get over it, right? When they say no, you try to close, and if you still can't, or they're not the right fit for you, or you're not the right fit for them, move on. Don't cry over it and get on to the next one. It's exactly the same thing with your Google reviews. I've sent out thousands and thousands of text messages and emails to get the 800 reviews that I have. The review rate for someone who does the right things goes up by 10%, but it's still 0% if you don't ask, right?
It's so great. I don't know if every now and then I'm taking the note, and you'll get an email from me later on today, thanking you for being on the show and giving you the link to where the recording is so that you have it. And I just wrote down, add in, would you review it never occurred to me to ask for reviews on the podcast for my guests. Brilliant, man. That's just great. Love it. Everybody wants to rank as high as they possibly can in Google. I mean, who doesn't? We all want to be the first one to come up. I know personally that if you Google my name, I'm like 40 pages back, because Jeffrey Goldberg is the publisher of the Atlantic magazine, and he's got like the first 40 pages. Yeah. If you Google Jeff Goldberg and Associates, of course I'm first, because that's the name of my company. But what are some keys to getting found at the top of Google?
Yeah, absolutely. The simplest thing that you can do is optimize your Google business profile. So the Google business profile is like a website that sits on top of the web, but it's owned by Google. So think about going into a bank. So my son lives in Phoenix. I think, no, maybe this is not a good example, but there are some banks that you can go to and you can choose the currency. So you can, if you're in a country that's bordering on 2 countries, you can maybe get euros or Swiss francs or something like that, right? So the important thing is to deal in the right currency. So people are optimizing search engine optimization. Search engines are not the thing. Google optimization is where you need to be. So optimize your Google business profile. That's the very first thing. Then the other thing is, secondly, put money then into mirroring your Google business profile onto your website. Use the same words, use the same categories, use the same products, because that's where AI is going to cross-reference and get most of its information from. So it's really important for your Google business profile to be optimized. And if someone's going to do that for you for $100, you're probably not getting a good job. You need to spend $500 to $1,000 to do that, whether that's your time and your investment or whether you pay someone else to do it. If you're, listen, cheap is cheap. I got ripped off. We probably, and this is the hurdle that I have to deal with. Oh, I did that and I got ripped off, so I'm not doing it anymore. Really? Like, I dated a girl once and she turned me down. Am I never going to date a girl again or a guy? Like, rejection is not a good enough reason just to stop cold turkey. You learn a lesson and you move on. Okay, I learned that paying $99 a month does not get me found at the top of Google. So, lesson learned. I got to spend $500 to $1,000 a month. That's what you got to do, folks. If you want, there's a lot of competition out there, and your competition is not just your competitors nowadays. Your competition is freaking bots out there, spewing out garbage and taking other stuff and trying to make it look human and sending it out there, and it's just noise. So it's harder than ever. So be real, optimize your Google business profile, then optimize your website to mirror your Google business profile.
Wow. And what makes a powerful review as opposed to a forgettable review?
So first the stars, but a powerful review is when they call you by name and they talk about your team. Okay. I get mentioned a lot because I'm the owner, but I love it when my staff get mentioned. So if they can mention your staff and the product that they purchased, those are very, very powerful things, especially the product that they purchased. Because if you say, oh, I'm so glad you're happy with your new Mustang, that then becomes a keyword that contributes to the value of it. So when people type in best Mustang dealer in Chattanooga, and if you got Mustang listed in some of your Google reviews, that helps that come up, right? Believe it or not. Then the really the most powerful thing then is to reply to that Google review, because you just multiply. We talk about 10x sometimes in sales, right? One other thing though, a picture is worth 1,000 words. If your clients can add a picture of them or the product that they bought into the review, that is so powerful. I'm a Google guide. I'm a level 8 Google guide. I've got over 10,000 contributions to Google. My reviews have got 10 million hits. I put pictures in as many as I can. And then, like last night, I was out for dinner with my in-laws, and I took a picture of my meal and I took a picture of my wife's meal. And I had already left a Google review for that restaurant. But when you add another picture to it, it's poking the bear. It gives it another kick, and it helps that restaurant, who also happen to be clients of mine. You see, reviews are only good, or Google only counts reviews from the last 90 days towards your ranking. I'm so glad you brought this up. What makes a powerful review? A regular, you got to keep poking the bear, Jeff. So if one of your competitors out there gets 500 Google reviews, and then for 3 months he doesn't get any, and you're getting 5 a month for the next 3 months, you could literally rank higher than him. Wow. With only 15 Google reviews, because you're regular. You're now flavor of the day, right? You're now someone who's active on Google, and Google wants to see people that are active. That's why they want you to reply to your reviews, because they want to see that you're taking care of your customers, because Google looks at your customers as their customers, right? Google wants to win. They only want to serve the business that's going to take the best care, that's going to meet the needs of that person who's doing the search. So you've got to be that business that meets the needs of your clients the best.
Brilliant. Now, for those of you who are listening, it might have sounded like John is still selling cars. He's not. He's mentioned them a few times, but he's not. He actually owns a sign shop and a marketing agency. So what's the biggest mistake business owners are making today with their marketing?
They're spending money on ads, and they don't have a Google business profile that's optimized. So it's like putting a supercharger on a car that has no gas in it. Like, why would you do that? Like, again, I'm using a car analogy. Sorry, it's my default. I was in the car business for 15 years, and But if you've got a bad reputation and you start spending money on ads, all you're doing is you're pouring gas on your bad reputation. The thing they're going to find is that you're not very good, or people don't say good things about you. I have never spent $1 on a Google ad or a Facebook ad. But 90% of my business is repeat and referral and search business, because I have a good reputation. That one Google review that I got basically 11 years ago, I didn't reply to it for 2 years. I didn't know what I needed to do, and then I thought, oh, I got a Google review. I should see how much my competition has. I challenge you, as a listener to this, or a business owner or contractor, or whatever it is that you do, take a look at your competitors. And so here's my situation. I'll just tell my story. I had 2 Google reviews. One was from someone trying to sell me stuff, and they left me a Google review, and don't do that. That's crap. And one was for my customer. But my competition up the street is Fast Signs, and they're, you've got them down there. They're franchise, and he had 69 Google reviews. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to catch these guys. So I put in a system, and the system is ask, right? That's the system. Ask for Google reviews when people are happy with your service, and just ask for the review. And eventually I got 5, and then I got 10, and then I got 70, and he had 69. I got 70, and he still had 69. That was like, it took me like a year. Okay. Now it's 10 years later. I have 800 and he has 200. So in 10 years, he's gotten another 130 reviews, and I've gotten 800. So it's not about how great your business is, really. It's about how good your asking is. That's what's part of your business. Ask for the Google reviews.
So I've worked with 3 different marketing agencies over the last, say, 18 months, to a total investment of $85,000 with an ROI of 0.
Yep.
How does somebody find a trustworthy marketing company today, and how much should we be spending on marketing?
Well, I think you already know the answer to that question, because you are already doing it. You got to do your due diligence, and it kills me when people say that they're a marketing company and they don't have any Google reviews. Like, what's your proof? So here's what I would do. I would do a search for marketing companies, and I would look at their reviews. And if they don't have many reviews, but you'd like to deal with them and they've been referred to them, call some of their customers that they've got listed on their website that they say are good, and really find out if they're good. Like, check out their references. You do that when you hire somebody. Dude, you just spent $85,000 and you've got nothing to show for it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I feel you, because I did the exact same thing. So how much if you're not, you got to spend $1,000 a month to get found, to get your Google business profile optimized and working. This is not even ads. This is just getting your Google business profile optimized, because I don't know what marketing companies out there are doing, spending your money if you don't have a conversion. Like, your website has to convert. It's no good having a great Google business profile and then people go to your website and your website's shit. So you got to have a good looking website to match it, but people are putting the cart before the horse. They're having a good looking website, and then they don't have a call to action on it, or they don't even say what they do. They've got this airy fairy stuff, like, your home is our dream, or we're helping you fulfill your dream, like best built home in Victoria, right? A home you can live in for 100 years. What does a digital marketing company do? Building relationships, no, I get you found. That's a marketing company, right? What is your goal? And how are you going to help me achieve my goal, right? And then how do you prove that you can help me achieve my goal? I had, we're back to AI again and results. I had one client, I was using my AI tool to help optimize his Google business profile, because I don't have time to do all this myself. I use the right tools, right? But I'd made one change. He's a realtor. He's a friend of mine from church. I made one change to his Google header, and I got him an 8,477% increase in visibility on Google. Wow. So it takes instinct. It takes experience. The thing about Mad Men, that TV series, is they came up with ideas that were outside of the box, because the AI can only think inside the box. We think outside the box. We have to be creative. That's why a lot of jobs will be replaced by AI, but people won't be replaced by AI. If you bring value as a person that a machine or an algorithm can't bring, you will never be out of a job. And if you're a salesperson that relates to your clients, that does the best for them always, the future is very bright for you.
You've mentioned a million times already, optimize your Google business profile. Is there anything somebody can do on their own to do that? Or do they have to hire somebody like you because it's just too difficult? I mean, what can we do? What can I do today? I always say I'm more technical than the average human. I know just enough to get myself in trouble. Then I have to call somebody and go, I did it again. Please fix this. So I'm pretty technical. What can a guy like me do to optimize my own profile? Or do I need to pay somebody like you?
Okay, you don't need to, but here, let's talk about cost for a second. What does it cost you not to optimize your Google business profile? So far, it's cost you $85,000 in marketing. We know that. What's it cost you in lost sales? Okay, so, or lost opportunities. That's the measuring stick. The measuring stick is not the $500 that, like, I'll do it for you for $500. Okay, and I use AI to do that. But I got my brain power in there too. So my AI squared. So that's what you need to spend. If you want to do it on your own, you can totally do it on your own. Go to my my link here on the bottom of the page, igetyouffound.com. You put in your email address in there. You put your name in there. I will email you my my playbook. It's the top 3 plays that I use. So get Google reviews, optimize your Google business profile. It's a step-by-step PDF on exactly how to do it. Oh, wow. And you just got to do it. And then the third thing is about there's one little piece in there about a widget for your website that's a video. So I recommend that. But yes, there's a lot of programs out there nowadays that will teach you how to do it. You can find it on YouTube. I have videos on it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Just look at Valley Cat Science and Marketing YouTube. Full training is on there. It's completely complimentary. Because I know there's a lot of guys who are listening to this that are just starting out and they don't have a lot of cash flow. Okay, but let's talk about cash flow for a second. We started on that and I digressed. The lost opportunity, I was on with another radio personality recently, and he does appearances. And he charges $5,000 for his appearances. So if he doesn't optimize his Google business profile and he doesn't spend, say with me, my essentials program is $1,000 a month. If he doesn't spend $1,000 a month, how much business does he lose? Well, if he loses one appearance a month, it's cost him $15,000, right? So if I only get him one more piece of business a month, it's $15,000. But what's the cost for him? The cost is $3,000. So the real cost, the hard cost that he lost in real cash is $12,000. Do you know what the lifetime value of a Starbucks customer is? Have you heard this stat before? So the average purchase at Starbucks is $6 to $7. The lifetime value of a Starbucks customer is $14,099. That's at $6 a pop. Okay. What is the lifetime value of a customer? Like, so I told you I was in the jewelry business. I sold engagement rings, and actually I worked in an appliance business. I sold TVs and stereos and that sort of thing. And I remember this one couple came in. They were getting the guy came and bought a TV for me. A couple of years later, I'm working at the jewelry store. He comes in and he sees me there and he buys an engagement ring for me. This are the people that said, oh, we'll probably buy our next house from you, right? Like there's a lifetime value that you have with clients, whether they're insurance customers, you have a book of business, or whether you're in the car business and they're leases and they're renewing if you stay on top of them, right? Or you're an investor, an investment banker or something like that. You've got these people, right? What is the lifetime value of the business? Because it only takes one new customer a month, and then over the lifetime of a Starbucks client, that's $15,000. So that's why people spend millions of dollars, because you spend in the right place. You got to get found. And then once they find you, you got to convert them into a client. Okay. And then once you've got them as a client, you've got to keep them as a client and go back. And then you've got to take them and have them leave you a Google review so that the next clients find you, right? It's all a circle.
Wow. So you've talked a ton about Google business reviews. Google business profile and reviews. How important is a website in today's digital world, given that we've got Google business profiles and stuff like that?
It's absolutely the number two thing you have to have, because that's where AI is getting most of its information. Okay. So it's super important. So you use the Google business profile to get found. And then, like I said, 70%, or I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but 70% of the people will simply click on call or directions. They wouldn't even necessarily go to your website. Okay. So this is like a one-click thing nowadays, right? People just like, oh, I'm looking for the best, ice cream shop near me. And it comes up, they trust Google. I don't need to go to the website and see a menu. I just click directions and boom, we're going there if it's within, the distance. So the website is now a really fancy digital brochure that people should go to, and they should be able to get all the information they need, including pricing, in my opinion. Okay. Every question that they would ask you, we talk about qualifying and transparency. You should have pricing. You don't have to tell an exact price, but it's a good idea to do it, because, if a guy comes to me and wants to buy an A-frame and he clicks sign shop, goes through, finds my website, clicks on my website, and I tell him an A-frame is $245, he either says, oh, that's fair, or that's too expensive, and he goes away. I don't have to deal with a phone call from a guy saying, how much is an A-frame? I've reduced the friction. He either likes it or he doesn't, and he's in or he's out. If he wants to now buy the A-frame, he can click and order it online, or he can upload his file to me and do the order, or he can pick up the phone and call me. But if he doesn't, I've saved myself 3 minutes of time. If I do that 20 times in a day, I've saved myself an hour, right? So that's where the website really comes in. Is the transparency is a very good thing. Give them all the answers to all the questions they would want to ask. So we did talk about the third thing that I recommend is how to make your website convert more. So you and I are talking somewhat face-to-face right now. People are seeing us. People are hearing us. We have a little widget. It's kind of like a FaceTime-like video that pops up in the bottom corner of my website. And it wiggles a little bit. It's a picture of me, and it doesn't do anything. It just says, click here for more information. When they click here, a video pops up, and it's, hey, this is John from Alleycat Signs and Marketing. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're looking for digital marketing, click this button here. If you're looking for signs, click this button here. That increases website conversion by 42% just by having a video of the owner or a representative of the company. It's incredible, because people, in the age of technology, we're all on our phones, but we still want to see a face, right? Like my granddaughter, she sees a phone and it's just a shiny thing that, lights up, but she sees my picture on it or a picture of a person, and boom, like she's engaged immediately. We want connection, especially since COVID. We're striving for connection. It doesn't have to be face to face in person, but a face. Hey, let's face it. Wouldn't we all rather talk to someone, most of us, face to face? Like a Zoom call is better than a phone call, isn't it?
Sure.
Like how much communication is nonverbal? Like, isn't it 80% or something like that? 90%?
Well, I'm with you 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Look, to me, in the hierarchy of selling, nothing beats a face-to-face meeting. Nothing. And look, all my meetings used to be face-to-face, and now maybe 5% of them are, because I'm on Zoom all day long.
Yeah.
But the second is video conferencing, because you can still see the person.
Yeah.
You mentioned body language. You can't read it from the here down, but you can still see facial expressions and
Yeah.
how they.
I am wearing pants, just so you know.
Thank you for letting me know that. I was wondering. One of the things I do when I'm, preparing for these interviews, I go to people's websites and their LinkedIn feed and things like that. And there was something that I saw that I have to ask about. What is the not secret sauce? And there's like a formula, like V to the third power, PR to the second power. What is not secret sauce?
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up. So, I believe in inspiration, and I was working with a mentor 8 or 9 years ago, and he says, we were talking about, okay, what is our value proposition? What sets us apart from everybody else? And it's the not secret formula. Here it is right here. Valuable people, valuable relationships, creating valuable results. So it's 3V PR squared. So the 3 V's are valuable, right? Your customers are not your most valuable asset. I'm going to tell you that right now. And a lot of you are your salespeople working for other people. You are the most valuable asset for your company. I'm telling you that right now. And I know that because when my boss devalued me, remember we talked about that? I quit. That cost him a lot of money, okay, to lose me. Not that other people couldn't do what I did, but none of the people, you're one of a kind. You bring something special to your relationship with your clients. You bring something special to your relationship with your bosses, okay? In my opinion, my staff are the most valuable people that I deal with. Now, the other valuable people are, of course, my customers. I have to take care of them. But you know what? I can get more customers by having a good reputation and by ads and stuff like that. But good team members are very hard to find. So when I get them, I keep them. And I've made some mistakes, and it's usually from me being too generous, but that's a whole different podcast. The other people that are valuable are my suppliers. I have a wholesaler that I deal with in Vancouver, and they're international, but I deal with this one company. Now, there's 3 other companies that do exactly the same thing. But when I bought Alley Cat Signs, we had a relationship with the supplier, and they already did. And you know what? I can change suppliers. I can go to other people who could supply me the exact same thing. How much am I going to save? 1%, 2%? Okay. But by putting most of my eggs in that basket, by having, a strong long-term relationship with them, when that something comes to me and is damaged and it's not really their fault, it was a shipping company, I go back to them and I say, hey, like this happened and I need this fixed. How much harder are they going to work for me because I've been valuable to them and I've valued them for the last 18 years, right? So your suppliers are very valuable relationship. I don't want to get political right now, but tariffs, you're hurting your own best friends, your best customers, because you want the short-term win. I want this now. That's not a good way to build a business.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that you Canadians do not love our president?
I'm saying he has good points and he has bad points, just like our leaders. All leaders do. They're human. Here's the issue. When they don't admit to their own bad points. Hey, I made a mistake. You know what? No one ever died by admitting they made a mistake.
I hear you, my friend.
Anyways, let's move on. So valuable people, valuable relationships. So I talked about the people. So how you have the relationship, it's respecting them. It's treating them. It's like understanding, hey, I might not be the right fit right now. Go on. I have reviews from people who I've sent to other suppliers or other sign shops because I did a good job for them and said, hey, I can't help you. Okay. Yeah. A review doesn't have to only come from a customer that bought from you. A review should come from people who know you, from people who respect you. Now, I will admit that I've left a negative review for a client that didn't pay me, but you know what? He didn't pay me. He had a business and I was reviewing his business and the way he was running his business. Now, my wife was really ticked off at me for doing this and the client wasn't too happy either. But you know what happened? I got the bill paid and then I took the review down. And I didn't give him 5 stars after that, but I gave him a 1 star and I called him out on what he did. So, it's hard to believe some people don't like me, but I call it like I see it. And that solved the problem for me. So, other people should know how people do business. Are you good to do business with, or are you bad to do business with? I really dislike it when people say, oh, I only leave good reviews. Why? If you had bad service, would you want your brother, your sister, your mother to go to that same place? Well, why not warn other people that, hey, I had bad service here. And then you're also helping that restaurant or that business to know, oh, I've got a server out here that makes me look bad. They can deal with it. I need to know if my team screws up, or if I get someone out there driving my company vehicle with my name splashed all over it and they're being a jerk, I want to know about that. I want a phone call. I want a Google review. I've gotten them and I've dealt with it. These are things that happen, right? Yeah. Okay. And then the results come automatically and the results are valuable, whether they're positive results from cash flow point of view or they're negative results and you get now a negative review. That result, you still turn it into a positive because it allows you to focus on a problem and solve the problem. So valuable people, valuable relationships, valuable results. It's how we run our business. It's how we raise our family. It's how we live life.
John, I could talk to you all day, but we're actually out of time. But before we go, I'm going to share my screen. Would you please tell people how they can reach you if they're interested in maybe signage or marketing or any of the things that we've talked about today? And please remember, there are people watching live, but this will get converted to a podcast. So if you could please explain, spell it out. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah. So my name's John DeJong. I'm the founder of Alley Cat Signs and Marketing. And the easiest way to reach me is go to igetYouFound.com and sign up there. Give me your email address, and I will send you the booklet, our playbook on how to get found on Google. My email address is John, JOHN, at alleycatsigns.com. That's Alley Cat with a K. And my mobile number is on the screen. If you want to text me, you can reach out to me that way as well. Thank you so much.
And for the people who'll be listening, would you like to give out that mobile number?
Yeah, go ahead. 250-858-5999. I believe in communication. I believe in being connected. If you text me and it's Sunday, I'm not going to reply to you, but most of the other time, I'll get back to you.
Well, John DeJong, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with us so generously. I truly appreciate it. It was a great conversation. And I will end as I always do. Gang, please remember that sales is a game of making things happen. Get out there and make sales happen. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great weekend, John. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jeff.